Dobry wieczór wszystkim, I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic today. I'm Mysticle, and I'll be bringing you the latest in AR and VR news. However, just before we jump into this one, let me tell you guys about our sponsor. Iron Rebellion is launching today, and whether you're a mech fan, or whether you're just looking for the next level of immersive gaming, this is one that you won't want to miss. Iron Rebellion is a VR exclusive mech combat game that puts you right in the pilot seat. And this one isn't just another game. It's a fully interactive experience where every switch, button, and joystick is part of the action. Customize your mech to fit your playstyle with 16 tweakable parameters, 12 devastating weapons, and game-changing abilities. Whether you're cloaking with the infiltrator or dropping attack turrets with the reinforcer, every mech has its own role to play. And the combat? It's pretty intense. Whether you're teaming up in 4v4 battles or experimenting with your loadout in the mech bay, the action never stops. And there's even more good news, as Iron Rebellion is actually cross-platform multiplayer, meaning that you can team up with your friends on both PCVR and Quest. Jump into game modes like Team Deathmatch, Conquest, and more. And as an extra cherry on top, what makes this game really special, it's built by a two-person indie team, and they're completely driven by the community. Your feedback shapes the way this game will play. So don't be shy, reach out on Discord and be part of the journey. Iron Rebellion is available right now for $25 on PCVR and Quest. Links are of course down in the description below. So what are you waiting for? Strap in, grab the sticks, and join the rebellion. Thank you so much to Iron Rebellion for sponsoring this video, and with that being said, let's get right into it. The very first thing that we have on our agenda today is Meta's Windows 11 integration update. This is one that we have been waiting for a while now, and it has actually started coming out to people. It looks absolutely fantastic and should make life a lot easier for those of us that enjoy multitasking on Windows with our Quest. Quest 3's seamless Windows 11 integration is now available as an experimental feature on VisionOS v72. And yes, I have slowly started receiving all the things that I'm supposed to be receiving from v72, so we might make a video looking through all of those, including this Windows 11 feature in the near future. The feature, announced at MetaConnect 2024, lets Quest 3 and Quest 3S owners connect to and mirror their Windows 11 PC with a single tap after just looking at it. It's possible thanks to a partnership with Microsoft and connects to the built-in Windows 11 remote desktop tech stack. The fact that it uses the built-in Windows remote desktop feature is actually really cool and should allow for very minimal latency, or at least I hope so. I haven't tried it yet. If it works the way they are showcasing it to work here, and if you can create virtual displays with it, then I'm all in for it. Let me know down below whether you've received this one and whether you have already tried it. That isn't all of Meta's not yet fully out features of v72 though, as it also brings hand tracking 2.3. Meta keeps updating the hand tracking inside our devices, and they have actually gotten it to a point that I would call completely and utterly usable. There are times where I just straight up pick up the headset and no longer pick up the controllers at all. I just use hand tracking. With hand tracking 2.3, that should be even better. As with all Quest updates, v72 rolls out gradually, so it may take a few days or even weeks for your headset to get the v72 update. Further, Meta rolls out some features separately to the main update itself, so even after having the v72 update, you may not actually have all of these features. Annoying, but that's how staggered rollouts work. The hand tracking 2.3 update is Quest v72's flagship improvement, and Meta says it will be gradually rolling out over the next few weeks, bringing enhanced stability, improved accuracy, and lower latency. And here over me right now, you can see a comparison of the old hand tracking versus the new hand tracking. It's actually really impressive how much they have managed to reduce the latency here. Now onto something that I personally am really excited for, the Android XR platform, as Google has announced its new Android XR operating system alongside the Samsung MR headset. On December 12th, Google announced Android XR, a new core branch of Android, designed as a spatial operating system for XR headsets and glasses. Of course, going to compete with the likes of Apple's XR operating system, VisionOS, and Meta's HorizonOS. However, this one is going to feature Google Play services, meaning we will have the Google Play Store, Maps, Chrome, all the good stuff that requires such services, and will probably be able to run 2D apps directly from the Play Store as well. Things like Snapchat, for example, that require Google Play services. Google has revealed Android XR, and it's basically what the name implies, a fully blown version of Android that's been adapted to run on XR headsets, supports the entire existing library of flat Android apps, and opens the door to spatialized versions of those apps, as well as completely immersive VR content. Samsung's newly announced headset, codenamed Project Moohan, will be the first MR headset to launch with Android XR next year. Google tells Road2VR that Android apps currently on the Play Store will be available on immersive Android XR headsets by default, with developers able to opt out if they choose to. That means a huge library of existing flat apps will be available on the device on day one. Great for giving the headset a baseline level of productivity. So that is really, really handy, and essentially what we've been wanting on Quest headsets for the longest time, a Google Play Store that will allow us to install these apps from the get-go. And unfortunately, we don't have that, so we've had to sideload these apps, and even with that, some of these apps just won't work because the headset doesn't have Google Play services. No, what the Gemini!
Quite common with devices that don't have the Google Play Store pre-installed. This is because many apps rely on Google Play services.
Gemini, go! I did not call you. Now let's talk a little bit more about that Samsung XR headset, as we have received quite a bit more information about the device itself, such as the fact that it will come with motion controllers, something the Apple Vision Pro came without, and it will also allow you to wirelessly connect to PCVR, something that the Apple Vision Pro also didn't allow you to do when it first came out, and still doesn't allow you to do first party. You have to install a third-party application in order to be able to do it. Samsung isn't sharing a lot of details on its newly announced Android XR headset, but it has confirmed two key things that existing VR enthusiasts and developers are sure to be happy about. Samsung's Project Moohan headset will be the first to ship with Android XR next year, and though Road2VR's hands-on with the headset exclusively used hand tracking and eye tracking input, the company says it's also making first-party motion controllers, which will be natively supported as part of Android XR. That's important because it means that thousands of existing VR applications which rely on motion controllers could be ported to Android XR without completely altering their fundamental game design. The Apple Vision Pro, on the other hand, doesn't support motion controllers, which means that the majority of the most popular VR content to date doesn't have a straightforward path to working on Apple's XR platform. Also important for existing VR content, both Samsung and Google have confirmed Android XR will support PCVR streaming of some kind on Project Moohan and other future headsets. That means users will be able to choose to stream PCVR content from a gaming PC to their headset, unlocking the large library of VR content through Steam VR, which often means better graphics and broader modding support. So two incredibly good pieces of news there. Just the fact that Android XR will be created from the ground up to support motion controllers is a very good thing, as well as the fact that it will also be built from the ground up to support wireless PCVR streaming. This likely means that it's Google working on some way to integrate Android XR with wireless PCVR streaming and not just Samsung making it for their headset only. Now onto a little bit about the Apple Vision Pro, as VisionOS 2.2 brings wide and ultra-wide Mac Virtual Display to the Apple Vision Pro. This is one that we've actually talked about in a previous news video, and it's one that hundreds of people have actually been waiting for. This one will allow Apple Vision Pro users to look at their Mac and create a virtual display that is not just a direct copy of the Mac that they're looking at, but also an ultra-wide. So if you guys are into productivity, you know ultra-wides will allow you to fit a lot more on the screen, duh. And this will allow you to create a virtual representation of that, meaning that you don't actually need to buy an ultra-wide to have an ultra-wide, which is brilliant. The new modes also appear to require Mac OS 15.2, the latest version of Apple's Mac operating system, as Upload VR weren't able to get it working on Mac OS 15.1. Since launch, Apple Vision Pro has been able to replace your physical Mac screen with a giant virtual display. To do so, you just look at your MacBook and click the floating virtual button that appears, or use the control center for a desktop Mac. Apple's software then almost instantly creates a direct wireless connection between the headset and the Mac, meaning you don't need a Wi-Fi network. And if you are on one, you won't suffer from any congestion issues. Because of this, and because the experience has high quality and low latency, Upload VR strongly praised Mac Virtual Display in their review of the Apple Vision Pro. This makes perfect sense. I mean, if you create a direct wireless connection between the laptop and the headset, you will get incredibly low latency and hopefully much higher bitrate as well, which is why I was hoping that was kind of the way Meta and Windows were going to do it. But then again, I guess not every single Windows 11 computer has Wi-Fi. All Macs have Wi-Fi, meaning that that was a lot easier for them to do. I guess they could make a wireless version of it that connects directly to the laptop or the computer that has Wi-Fi, and then have a fallback state that goes through your router if it doesn't. And finally, we have some information on the fact that some PSVR 2 users have been getting some lag while trying to play PCVR on their PSVR 2. As most of you probably know, Sony has finally allowed PlayStation VR users to connect their PSVR 2 to their computer and play PCVR. Well, that hasn't been without issues. The PlayStation VR 2 PC app now warns of controller Bluetooth connectivity issues, and Sony lists recommended adapters and drivers as a solution. Sony released the PCVR adapter and SteamVR driver for the PSVR 2 in August. In September, it followed up with a major firmware update fixing the rotational distortion that Upload VR noted in their review and enabling refresh rate options on AMD graphics cards. At the same time, TP-Link made available a special firmware version for its UB500 and UB5A Bluetooth USB adapters that it says could fix the lag issues some owners were experiencing with PSVR 2 Sense controllers, because of course those work through Bluetooth. Some initial users of the PCVR adapter assumed that these issues were tracking issues, but as Upload VR pointed out in their technical analysis of the PSVR 2, its controller tracking is excellent. In fact, these are Bluetooth connectivity issues. And yeah, Bluetooth isn't the best technology to be using for these kinds of things, even though that is exactly how most headsets pair their controllers. We have seen Bluetooth have issues before, not just with controller tracking, but even just with Bluetooth audio. I mean, don't get me started on the latency issues on that. So I can see why it might be having issues with things that require even more data going through that Bluetooth connection. Controllers like this probably require quite a bit of data, quite a bit of bandwidth. So it's nice to see companies releasing firmware updates for their devices in order to fix this. But yeah, if you're having issues, it's not just you, and hopefully you will receive a firmware update in the near future. Either way though, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day or night, wherever you are in the world. I was gone for a little bit. We were actually at AI XR in Rotterdam. That was a lot of fun. Managed to get my hands on the Meta Ray-Bans, so prepare to see a video on these in the near future. Unfortunately, I am in Europe, so they're limited, but hey, we got past that. Thank you so much to the Patreons supporting this channel. You guys are amazing. You are what makes this possible, and thank you so much for your support. If you're not yet part of the community, check out the Discord and the Reddit down below. I want to see you posting your spicy memes. And as usual, if you want to be notified of content coming up on the channel, make sure to smack that subscribe button with your ding my bell. And see you in the next video. Peace. I co ta beta to brzmi? I to brzmi dobrze. No i już go nie ma. Ale dosłownie stał tam przez te pół godziny i nie wyszedł nawet z auta. Nie wiem, o co chodzi.